Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 3, and before we go into the presentation, let us introduce ourselves. The first, myself, Rifta Rafika, and then Nisa Aulia Shashabil, and then Aina Ardianti Khotimah, and last, Diana Novita Sari. And we will presentation about the scope of meaning 1, external context. Meaning and context. Meaning. Interpret a word in language. Speech word exists only in certain contexts, and we will not be able to reach an adequate description of meaning if we do not take them cannot be considered as a whole. For example, consider the meaning of the English possessive morpheme as was Dennis's teacher got burned, and then Dennis's brush got burned. Possessive morpheme denotes a teaching verb-like relationship to its object and express two very different relationships in each sentence. And then context. Considering the external or real-world context to which linguistic expression differ, the interpersonal context of the linguistic action in which each utterance is placed. Context in order to properly interpret an expression, and it seems that listeners have to perform a number of related tests involving these two different types of context. And for example, consider someone interested in learning to play golf who receives advice. All golfers need to find some good golf clubs.
Sense reference, speakers and hearers. Sense or the semantic structure of sentence is something possessed by a name, whether or not it has reference. Sense is defined as its relation to other expressions in the language system. Even the reference is same, the sense of different name is different. Reference is the described situation controlled by speakers. The reference of a word is the relation between the linguistic expression and the entity in the real world to which it refers. Limits of sense and reference. A linguistic expression refers if it picks out an entity or set of entities in some word, either the real word or some possible or imagined word. It will depend on the context in which it is used. For example, is Mr. Smith is a professional basis. Mr. Smith identifies a particular individual as the entity about whom the information is a professional basis. This expression is referring, while the information a professional basis not to refer in the context, because it does not pick out a particular entity or set of entities as its object in the same way as expressions like Mr. Smith. This expression is non-referring. Instead, a professional basis has a predicative function. Part of the information given about Mr. Smith.
Deixis. Deixis is defined as those which make reference to some aspect of the context of utterance as an essential part of their meaning. The meaning of the utterance. Deictic expression. The deictic words such as I, you, we, they, this, that, it, now, soon, yesterday, tomorrow, soon, etc. are different linguistic forms and are called deictic expression. Deictic expressions have the peculiarity that their reference is relative to the situation in which they are used. The meaning of it can be understood only different short of deixis or reference to elements of the context have been observed cross-linguistically. These include the following: person deixis, by which speaker I, here, you, and other entities relevant to the discourse, he, she, it, they, are referred to; temporal deixis, now, then, tomorrow; and discourse deixis, which refer to others elements. For the example, if you ask a visiting exchange student, "Have you been in this country long?" The word "this country" and "you" are the deictic expression. The "are" refers to the country where the conversation happened and the person being addressed.
Dictionary and encyclopedia has an important role in multi-word search. To distinguish the knowledge we have about the meaning of a word from the knowledge we might have about its denotation. Knowledge of meaning and knowledge of facts. Knowledge has a difference if dictionary knowledge and encyclopedia knowledge is not very important to its meaning because it is not linguistic. Why should you be able to tell the difference between a dictionary and encyclopedia? In the encyclopedia, he has independent knowledge. The point is that the meaning in the encyclopedia is more complicated to understand because there is a lot of language processing in it. While on dictionary, the language is shorter because each word is streamlined, sleek, and easy to understand. The problem, the dictionary have been rejected by many linguists because both are considered permeable and do not exist. And the encyclopedia is opposed because he has a very full meaning, unlike a dictionary.